So overall, can you say what is the benefit of someone, I mean, why would someone, when I put this class out there, I got a lot of questions on, I think I heard about that. Why would I want to try it? Why would I, is it safe for me to do? What exactly is it?
Well, it's, okay, so to start at the basics, you have an endocannabinoid system. And if you want to really learn about this product, that's where you want to start, is research the endocannabinoid system. And it's nothing complex. You can go on YouTube and watch videos and you're going to get the gist of it. But they found in I think it was the 1980s, that we have this receptor system. You were talking before, the CB1, CB2, okay. And they're actually thinking we have a CB3 receptor now, they're kind of finding. But those receptors bind to cannabinoids or get stimulated by cannabinoids. I don't really understand the receptor system completely, how that interacts with certain top things, but I know it somehow either stimulates or binds to these receptors. Now, if we have receptors, that means we produce whatever that those receptors are receiving in our body, which actually means we produce marijuana in our body. It's not so simple as that, but what happens is that when you eat omega-3, you convert that into endocannabinoids. So there isn't a gland that actually produces endocannabinoids. It comes from the conversion of omega-3. That's why all the medical professionals push omega-3 as an anti-inflammatory. It's really not that omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. It's that it converts into endocannabinoids, which are now anti-inflammatory. So that's why it's a good thing for us, like with Parkinson's, and we see such good results with Parkinson's, because when they take omega-3, they're feeling that slows down their Parkinson's, which in a sense it will, but it's not going to do as effectively as what marijuana or CBD would do, because of the fact that those cannabinoids, now you're just getting them, it doesn't have to convert, you know. So when you study the endocannabinoid system, you see how these receptors respond with certain cannabinoids. Now, like CB1 receptors respond more to THC, and those are more dominant in the brain, where CB2 receptors are more in the body, especially in the digestion area. And those respond better to CBD and CBN, CBG, and some of the other cannabinoids. Now, any kind of hormonal cancer is going to respond better to CBD, where any kind of brain cancer is going to respond better to THC. Not that you should pick one over the other, but if you come up with breast cancer, you definitely want to have a dominant CBD product. But I would not say don't use THC, because why would you want to short yourself of something that could also help, you know? So.
Okay, so if someone has severe migraines, would it be better for them to do like the Luza?
We always suggest Luza over Untamed.
Okay.
Unless there's a drug testing issue for a job.
Okay.
I mean, if drug testing wasn't even an issue for anybody, I wouldn't even put out Untamed. That's the only reason we put Untamed out, is because truck drivers, yeah, you know, because you will test positive on a drug test with Luza. I mean, we've all tested ourselves, we've all tested positive. Now, if that's on a positive negative test, if they do a quantitative test where they actually go in and look at the level of THC in your system, it's going to be so minute that any employers go like, yeah, this dude didn't smoke weed. You know, I mean, I've even heard of some people using Dr. Broner's stuff testing positive on a drug test, because it's him. So it's going to have that naturally occurring THC in it. So, you know, but if it's just a pure, you know, positive negative test, you're probably going to test positive on a drug test.
And is there any difference between adults and children? Is it safe for children?
Oh God, yeah. We have kids 3 months old taking this stuff. Yeah.
What
You
about,
know, it's really interesting. Sorry to interrupt you.
sure.
Is that when they study breast milk, it's ungodly high in cannabinoids. That's why they say that kids are breastfed are smarter and healthier. It's because of there was never that correlation as to why. That's why. Because that kid is just getting hammered with cannabinoids, which is starting to develop, you know, the brain. And I mean, we don't even know the potential of all this stuff yet, because no one's really been allowed to study, because there's been such restraint on it from the government, you know. So.
So we had a lady that came in and her child had ADHD, and her school wanted her to go to the doctor and put them on, you know, meds, and she's absolutely refusing. And so she's going to be trying Untamed. So there's, you know, I told her to get back to us to let us know how it's going, but do you have any experience on?
Oh yeah, ADHD we deal with all. I agree with that. Your kid's not going to feel high or anything.
And we have a lot of kids, like the parents, a lot of times they'll start it during summer to see, because they want to keep an eye on their children and make sure it's going okay. They don't want to just say, here, take this and send them off to school.
Mm-hmm.
And when the kids have gone back in fall and had, because sometimes, you know, in smaller towns or whatever, they have the same teacher for 2 years, they're like, what did you do with this child? It's a completely different child, and it's just because they started giving them the CBD
Well,
product.
actually, the guidance counselors in Fomby High, which is one of the largest high schools in the state, now are sending people in because they're starting to see results from parents using our products on kids. And they're like,
Good.
this is
Mhm.
working.
So-
And it's legal. So, you know, I mean,
A lot of school systems are getting very open to it.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to still be leery, but it has a long half-life, so it lasts quite a long time in their system. So if you give it to your child in the morning and then send them to school, it should last them all day.
Oh, good, because that's what she asked, and I'm like, I'm not sure.
I mean,
Start on the weekend,
every-
see how it
yeah.
works.
Everybody's a
and-
little
Everybody's a little different, but even
Yeah.
if they're finding just doing the morning dose isn't working, then I recommend doing morning and then before bed, so they kind of have a little bit built up in their system. It'll help that morning dose to last a little bit longer and be more effective.
we fooled around with gummies for a while for kids, that they could take it in lunch and have their medicine. The problem is that if the kid gave his gummy to somebody
Or
else,
kids
Yeah.
trade lunch or whatever.
that could be a problem. So that went out the door real quick.
Be the most popular kid in school.
Yeah.
Could you put it in like a water or a juice in their
It's-
lunch, or does it not work that way?
It would work. That's better than nothing. The only thing with juice I would watch is that if there's any acidity, I would have to check on that the acidity would kill the properties of it or anything. But you're ingesting it quickly. The more it spends in the mouth, the better it works. Suppository is actually the best way to take it, but who wants to do that every day? Now, if you had rectal cancer, that's something I would suggest, is getting a high THC CBD product and using a suppository. But because it's 100% absorption. Vaping is also very effective. But the problem with vaping is that you don't know how much you're getting. You know, like you can vape our products, a lot of people vape our products, but because it's so fast, it goes right into the lungs, 100% absorption, but you don't know how much you're getting from each one of those puffs. And it wears off really fast. So you're constantly having to vape the product.
But people that use it are like severe pain,
Yeah.
severe anxiety, where they need that quick relief. They're starting a panic attack or this
Yeah.
severe pain. They can vape, and then we recommend they follow up with the tincture, so they kind of have a
Time
timed
release.
release of the CBD, and they have a broader spectrum of pain relief.
We even just brought out caps now, capsules of extract. They're really expensive, first off, to take, so it's not real cost effective, but again, it's going right into gut. So we don't really know absorption. You know, it's hard to say after it hits the stomach how much is actually getting in there.
Between
So-
stomach acid and then the liver processes it before your body even absorbs it, and that's why the tincture under the tongue
It's
is
best.
much
But to
better
answer your
absorption.
question, yeah, you could try the water. It would be better than nothing, but in most cases, they don't even need to, because like Crystal was saying, the half-life is at usually about a day and a half, they're figuring on this. So, you know, if you're dosing your kid morning and night, they're more than likely not gonna, you know.
My son gets anxiety, and I was thinking about trying it with him, and I wasn't sure.
It's like to answer your question with safety, I mean, there is no, it's not unsafe. You can't overdose. No one has ever died from marijuana, ever. There's not one documented case of someone dying from marijuana. I mean, you can't, it's literally impossible to overdose because it doesn't work on the central nervous system. It works on the peripheral nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system isn't responsible for breathing, heart rate, anything like that. The central nervous system is. So like when Prince died, he took enough, I guess it was fentanyl, to actually stop his heart. With marijuana, you can't do that. It's literally impossible to do that. I mean, people have smoked enough pot to think they were gonna die from the paranoia, but you're not gonna die. So.
I'm with your son. I mean, we've had a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, but we've had multiple kids that stopped going to school because of their anxiety with going to school, whether it be bullies or just not fitting in or whatever, that they've stopped going to school, and since using the product, they're back in school now. They're thriving and doing really, really well because it helped their anxiety so much.
If you just morning and then before.
We had
bed,
one
or
kid
just start
that-
with before bed, or
Yeah, morning
see
and
what happens.
I'm a real big before bed person with this stuff because you heal when you sleep and it resets your mind. You get DMT release from your pineal gland when you sleep, so it's just, I think it's a good time to take it is before bed, if you're gonna do it once a day.
And is there much difference as far as dosage depending on age?
No, I think it's more dependent on how weak or strong your endocannabinoid system. If your endocannabinoid system was that bottle of water and the water level shows how much endocannabinoids you have, the lower your bottle is, the more you have to fill up. That's kind of leads into another point, is that when you usually start heavy with this product and wean off as you go, because once you fill that bottle up, now you just have to tap it off every so often to keep your levels, you know. That's what I was saying with your husband, to take it every day is better because you're dealing with the issue. Once the issue gets resolved or controlled, now you don't have to take the product quite as much to maintain, you know, so.
Both kids, yeah, I think morning and night is really important because the nighttime's gonna help them to sleep better. Like he said, it helps with the serotonin release and all of that. But then in the morning, they get the anxiety relief or the ADD to be able to focus in school. It helps it to last longer, and kids' metabolisms are faster than adults too, so they're gonna maybe utilize it a little bit quicker than an adult would.
But as far as actual drops you take, that's one of the hardest questions to answer because there's no right or wrong to it. I mean, you can have a 300-pound guy that comes in with back pain and a 100-pound woman that comes in with back pain, and the woman would have to take twice as much as the guy. It makes no sense, and it happens all the time. And it happens for a number of reasons. First off, some people have bad pain tolerance, so they're just wimps, you know. So what someone would consider pain, the next person considers normal. So it's really hard to regulate, you know, but it also has to do so much, I think, with the endocannabinoid system, how stressed or weakened that is compared to the next person, you know. What one person would consider stress, the next person doesn't consider as a normal guy, you know. And so a lot of that has to do with it too, you know.
So what we recommend is people start with a set amount and then keep a log as to how severe their pain was or how severe their anxiety was or whatever they might be using it for, and then adjusting their dose depending on the results that they're getting.
Because that's the thing with it, it's safe. You can go up and down, you can go on and off.
You can take it hourly if you're having a bad day, or you can take it once a
And
day
then
if
the
you're
next day
having a
you
real good
maybe
day.
wouldn't take any. You know, there's no withdrawal, there's no dependency, there's no overdose, there's no. It's a very free.